I agreed to pretend to be her son in his final moments. The love I found transformed me. She asked me to be her lost son. But the secret I found changed my story forever. How could a lie heal wounds deeper than the truth itself? The air at the University of California, Los Angeles Medical Center, UCLA, in Westwood smelled like disinfectant and despair, two aromas Lucas Mitchell, knew intimately at 26. As a third-year pediatrics resident, I breathed that mix daily while I ran the hospital corridors, balancing 24-hour shifts with studying for my board exams. But that autumn afternoon, when the palm leaves on campus swayed under Los Angeles's tangerine sky, despair had a specific face, Isadora Montgomery's. She found me near the cafeteria, her Rodeo Drive clothes worth more than my annual resident salary, about $62,000 that barely covered my Koreatown studio rent and the student loans that totaled about $280,000. Her eyes, though, carried a pain no fortune in Beverly Hills could buy back. "Dr. Mitchell," she began, her trembling hands gripping a Hermes bag that cost more than my entire debt. "I need to speak with you. It is about my son." I led her to an empty consult room on the 8th floor, with a view over the restless stretch of Sunset Boulevard, assuming she was another rich Bel Air mother asking for special favors for a sick child. What she asked for was stranger than anything medical. "I lost my son 26 years ago," she whispered, diamond ring fingers drumming against the stainless steel table. "He would be your age now. And I need you to be him for a while." I laughed, a dry, tired sound echoing in the sterile room. "Mrs. Montgomery, I am a doctor, not an actor. This sounds like the plot of one of those bad Lifetime movies." She set a brown envelope on the table. When I opened it, I saw a Bank of America check for $100,000. "Only for 3 months," she said, soft but steady. "You would come to dinner a few times at our place in Malibu, spend a few weekends there. My husband, Antonio, he is dying. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. His last wish is to see our son again before. My fingers drifted to the broken silver pendant I always wore, a nervous habit since my days in the East LA foster group home. The crescent moon piece was worn by time, but I could never take it off. It was my only physical link to the life before the system. "Why me?" I asked, my voice thinner than I wanted, while the thrum of news helicopters over LA traffic leaked through the window glass. "Because you look like him," she said, her blue eyes, shockingly like mine, scanning my face as if reading a book she knew by heart. "The same height, the same light brown hair, even that little dimple on your chin when you were thinking." A chill ran down my spine. How would she know about the dimple? I had noticed it only recently myself, when a nurse teased me about my worried doctor face during rounds. "I cannot," I said, sliding the check back across the cold surface. "It is unethical. It is sick. I have a medical license to protect." "Mrs. Montgomery." That was when she opened her bag and took out a laminated photograph, its edges frayed by time. A baby about 6 months old, with eyes as blue as mine, the same light brown hair, even the same solemn look my adoptive mother always complained about in the few pictures she had of me as a child. "This is Raphael, our son." And I froze. Because the baby in the photo was me. The exact picture my adoptive mother Carmen, kept in a box in the attic of our modest Boyle Heights home, saying it was my only baby photo before I entered the system through the California Department of Children and Family Services. How do you have this photo?" I asked, my hands shaking as I took it, fingers tracing the familiar features of the child. Isadora looked at me, eyes filling with tears she tried to catch with a silk handkerchief. "Because I took it. Lucas." On the day Raphael turned 6 months old. It was in our apartment in Santa Monica, near the pier. There were blue balloons and a small cake. He hated the feel of the frosting on his hands. The world caved in around me. The hospital's white walls closed in like a thriller's frame. The distant sirens on Wilshire Boulevard blurred to a muffled hum, as if I were underwater. My mind sprinted backward to my sessions with the hospital therapist, Dr. Chin, where I talked about my imposter syndrome, not only as a doctor, but as a human being. How I always felt like I was playing a role, first in the group home, then in Carmen's house, now at the hospital. As if I were waiting for someone to say, "The real Lucas Mitchell is gone, you can stop pretending now." And Isadora Montgomery, with eyes that seemed to see through every defense, looked like the person finally ready to say it. "The pendant," she whispered, gaze fixed on the silver at my throat. "Have you always worn it?" My hand flew up to cover it. Since I can remember. The social worker said I had it when I entered the system." Isadora drew a deep breath, her expensive coat rising and falling. Raphael had the same. A gift from his grandfather, my father. He gave one to each grandchild at birth. Crescent moons that fit together to make a full moon. My heart pounded so hard I feared the hallway monitors could pick it up. "What are you suggesting, Mrs. Montgomery?" She leaned in, a warm cloud of jasmine and sandalwood closing the distance between us. "I am not suggesting anything, Lucas. I am asking you to help give my dying husband his last moments of peace. And maybe in the process we both find answers to questions we have carried for a long time." Her eyes dropped again to my pendant, and for the first time I noticed she wore a similar chain beneath her silk scarf, the tip of a silver crescent glinting at her collarbone. In that moment, on the 8th floor of the UCLA Medical Center, with California's sun sinking over the city of angels, I understood the question I had asked at the start. How could a lie heal wounds deeper than the truth itself? Because I was starting to suspect we were not talking about a lie at all. We were circling a truth that neither I, nor Isadora, nor the California adoption system had ever dared to name. And the broken silver pendant at my neck felt as heavy as lead, as if it were finally ready to reveal the secret it had carried since I could remember, a secret that, I suspected, would change not only Isadora Montgomery's story, but my own forever. The following week was a whirl of inner conflict. Every time I pushed along Los Angeles freeways to another shift at the UCLA Medical Center, my mind swung between a doctor's logic and an orphan's hunger. The check for $100,000 sat in my desk drawer, and signed, but not returned. As if that amount could pay not only my student debt, but also buy answers to who I really was. On Thursday, Isadora called. Her voice sounded different, more fragile, more urgent. "Antonio had a crisis this morning. The doctors said we may have only a few weeks." She paused, and I heard her swallow. "Could you come tonight? Just to meet him. No commitment." Something in that request cracked my resistance. Maybe it was the doctor answering an emergency. Maybe it was the abandoned child answering a chance to belong. Or maybe it was the fatigue of 26 years of questions. The drive to Malibu along the Pacific Coast Highway should have soothed me. The ocean on the right, the mountains on the left, sunset painting everything in orange and rose. For me, each curve was a quickened heartbeat. I was about to meet a dying man pretending to be his lost son. Or, as a growing part of me suspected, I was about to meet my possible biological father. The house was astonishing. A modern sweep of glass and concrete perched over the cliffs, staring down the Pacific. More gallery than home. When the door opened, Isadora stood there, her face pale but resolute. "Thank you for coming," she whispered, eyes searching my face for something. Or someone. She led me along a corridor of white marble floors, walls hung with artworks I had only seen in museums, into a room whose windows were all ocean. There, in a medical recliner, was Antonio Montgomery. He was me. Not exactly, of course. He was in his 60s, his face marked by illness and pain. But the same blue eyes. The same shape of face. Even the way he tilted his head as he saw me was eerily familiar. "Raphael," he said, voice weak, full of hope. My heart stopped. For a moment, I almost said, yes. Because something in that name sounded right. Like a song I knew and have forgotten. "I am Lucas, sir," I said, my voice unsteady. He reached out a trembling hand, and I took it. His skin was cool and pale, but his grip was surprisingly firm. You look so much like her," he murmured, eyes wet. "Like whom?" I asked, though I knew. "Your mother," he said, his gaze flicking from me to Isadora. "When she was your age." That was when I noticed the photographs on the bedside table. Dozens. A baby growing month by month, then year by year. The same baby from the photo Isadora had shown me. The same baby I was in the few pictures I had. "These are..." I began, but the words died. "Of Raphael." Antonio finished, his voice thick with feeling. "Of you." I sank into the chair beside him, my legs suddenly weak. "Mr. Montgomery. I am not your son." He smiled, sad and gentle. "You were always stubborn. Even as a child. You always wanted to do things your own way." A chill laced my spine. How would he know that? My stubbornness was the thing my adoptive parents always mention, how I insisted on tying my own shoes at 3, choosing my own clothes, making my own way. "Antonio, do not frighten the young man," Isadora said softly, her hand resting on his shoulder. But he did not stop. His eyes stayed on me, seeing through time. "Do you still have the pendant? The one your grandfather gave you?" My hand went to my chain. "Yes," I whispered. "May I see it?" he asked. With shaking fingers, I took off the pendant and placed it in his palm. He held it with a reverence that moved me, tracing its worn edges. "I have the other," Isadora said, drawing out her own chain. She came closer and set both pieces side by side on the table. They fit perfectly. 2 crescents forming a full moon. Air left my lungs. I looked at Isadora, at Antonio, then at the pendants, now a complete circle. "How?" I began, but could not finish. Antonio did something then that rattled me further. He took my left hand and turned the palm up. "Do you still have that scar? The time you fell off the bicycle chasing the neighbor's dog?" My mouth dried. There was a thin white scar across my left palm, from when I was 7 and fell in the park. A story that had always felt strange, because we did not have a bicycle in the group home, and neither of my adoptive parents knew how I had gotten that scar. "How do you know that?" I asked, my voice a rasp. Antonio looked from Isadora back to me. "Because I was there, son. I lifted you up, cleaned your bloody knees, took you home. And you called me Daddy." The words struck the room like quiet thunder, each one hitting the card castle of my identity. In seconds, 26 years of certainty collapsed. And in that clifftop house, with the joined pendants glowing in sunset light, I understood I was not pretending to be someone else. I was remembering who I had always been. And that memory was scarier and more freeing than any lie we could invent. The next days settled into a ritual that felt disturbingly natural. After my shifts, I drove to Malibu, changing my white coat for casual clothes Isadora silently provided, clothes that, I later learned, were the style Raphael would have worn. Each visit felt like stepping into a warped mirror of the life I might have had. Antonio rallied a little with me there. The doctors called it a psychological remission. Hope's power briefly propping up a failing body. I knew the truth. All of us were living in a fragile castle of lies that could collapse at any moment. On the third visit, Antonio asked me to fetch some papers from his office. "In the safe," he whispered, breath shallow. "Combination is Raphael's birthday." My hands trembled as I tapped the date into the keypad. March 15, 1998. The safe clicked open to neat stacks of documents. Then I saw the folder with my name. Lucas Mitchell. Adoption papers. The world slowed. With unsteady fingers, I opened it. Everything was there, my original birth certificate, California Department of Children and Family Services paperwork, medical records from my birth at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, and a letter, written in Antonio's elegant hand. "Dear Lucas," I read, my voice fraying. "If you are reading this, it means we finally found each other, or I am no longer here to tell you the truth myself." I fell into the leather chair, my legs unable to hold me. The words danced as I read the story that would change everything. Antonio wrote how Isadora, at 16, spiraled into severe postpartum depression after I was born. How she tried to take her life when I was 3 months old. How he, a successful 40-year-old physician, made the hardest decision of his life, to place me for adoption to protect both me and her. "I took you myself to the East LA orphanage," he wrote, the lines stained by time or tears. "I put the pendant around your neck and promised I would come back one day to find you." But Isadora's depression worsened, and when she finally recovered, years later, you had already been adopted. We lost you twice, first to my decision, then to the system. I looked at the attached photo. Antonio holding a baby, his eyes full of a pain I now understood. The baby was me. The man was my father. When I returned to the room, my steps were heavy as lead. Antonio watched me enter, his eyes already knowing. "You read it," he said, not a question. "Why?" I asked, my voice carrying a rage I did not know I had. Why did you not come for me? Why wait until you are dying? Isadora stepped in, face drained. Because I did not know. Lucas. Antonio never told me you were alive. Silence roared. Antonio looked from her to me, remorse so deep it hurt to see. I lied to you all these years, he told Isadora, voice broken. I said Raphael died of sudden infant death syndrome. But the truth is I placed him for adoption to protect him from you when you were ill. Isadora folded her knees, her body shaking with quiet sobs. 26 years, she whispered. 26 years believing I killed my own child with my negligence. I looked at Antonio, the man who was my biological father, whose decision had shaped my life. For the first time I saw not a monster, but a terrified human making an impossible choice. I found you 5 years ago. Antonio went on, eyes begging for understanding. When you started medical school at UCLA. I came to campus and watched from a distance. I saw you graduate. I saw you become the man I always knew you would be. My mind flashed back to that strange sense of being watched in college. To the anonymous scholarship that appeared in my second year, covering exactly what I needed. To the rotation at Massachusetts General Hospital that opened as if by miracle. It was you, I said, the truth crashing over me. All of it was you. I wanted to tell you, he whispered, tears finally breaking. But how does a stranger say he is the father who gave you away? How could I tell Isadora I had lied to her for over 2 decades? And there, in the ocean room where my father was dying and my mother discovered her life had been built on a lie. I felt the brutal complexity of my first question. How could a lie heal wounds deeper than the truth itself? Because sometimes truth is so painful that only a lie lets people keep breathing. And sometimes only when death draws near do we find the courage to face what we always knew but never named. I, the doctor who swore to tell patients the truth, now understood there are truths that heal and truths that kill. In his desperate choice, my father had chosen the lie that let us all breathe one more day. But his breath was growing thinner by the hour, and the truth he hid for so long now breathed freely, wild, painful, and, strangely, redemptive. The night after the revelation was the longest of my life. Isadora locked herself in her room, the muffled sound of her weeping crossing the mansion's thick walls. Antonio lay in his hospital bed, eyes on the ceiling, breathing like a man carrying not only a terminal illness but the crushing weight of a secret finally loosed. I stayed on the balcony, watching Pacific waves break against the cliffs below, each crash echoing my inner storm. 26 years of questions found answers, and those answers spawned harder questions. How should I feel about my biological father? He abandoned me, yes, but he watched over me, quietly ensuring my success. He lied to my mother, yes, to shield her from a truth that might have shattered her when she was already fragile. And Isadora, my mother, the teenager who carried me, loved me, but whose illness made her dangerous to herself and, possibly, to me. She lived her entire adulthood believing she was responsible for her child's death. What kind of inner hell was that? At sunrise, painting the sky in rose and gold, Isadora stepped onto the balcony. Her face was swollen from crying, but her eyes held a resolve I had never seen. He is worsening, she said, voice raw. The doctors say we may have only days. I nodded, feeling a hurt that was not only clinical, but visceral and filial. I know. I checked his vitals before I came out here. She moved closer, eyes studying my face as if for the first time. "You have his eyes," she whispered. "The same color, the same intensity. And your smile, when it appears, shy like that, it is exactly his. Why did you never suspect?" I asked, the question out before I could stop it. "That I might be alive?" She looked at the ocean, arms crossed as if bracing against the morning chill. "Because when you are convinced you are a monster, Lucas, you accept whatever punishment life hands you. I spent 26 years believing I deserved that pain. That my depression made me unworthy of being a mother, and the universe punished me by taking what I loved most." Her words hit with a force that staggered me. How many times had I felt the same? In the group home, then with my adoptive parents, always with a quiet sense that there was something wrong in me that made people leave. "You were not a monster," I said, softer than I intended. "You were ill. There is a difference." She turned to me, tears returning. "But I was not ill when I let you cry alone in the crib because I had no energy to rise. I was not ill when I forgot to feed you because the days blurred into a gray fog. Antonio protected me from the truth, but he cannot protect me from my own memories." I finally grasped the full complexity. Antonio did not lie only to keep Isadora from knowing I was alive. He lied to shield her from facing how she had been as a mother in those first months. "He loved you too much to let you remember," I said, understanding cresting like a slow wave. "He loved me too much to let me live with the truth," she corrected, a bitterness that hurt to hear. "And in the process, he robbed us of 26 years we could have had together." We went back inside, the air heavy with all that had been said and all that had not. Antonio was awake, eyes bright with fever, but clear. "You two talked," he said, not asking. "At last," Isadora replied, cool and even. I moved to the bed, feelings clashing, anger, pity, understanding, betrayal, swirling like a riptide. "Why now?" I asked, my hand going to the pendant at my throat. "Why tell me now, when you were dying?" Antonio tried to sit up, failed. "Because I cannot die leaving you both in the lie I made. And because I wanted to meet my son, even if only for a few days, as he truly is, not as the ghost I kept in my head." His words pierced the most vulnerable place, the orphan who had always dreamed of being known and loved for who he was. "I have spent my life feeling as if a piece was missing," I confessed, the words easier than I expected. "As if I were always searching for something I did not know I had lost." "I did too," Isadora whispered behind me. "Every day, in every child I saw on the street, in every young man passing by. I looked for you. Even believing you were dead, some part of me never stopped." Antonio reached out, trembling fingers seeking mine. "I was wrong, Lucas. I know I was. In my arrogance as a doctor. I thought I was doing the best for everyone. Protecting you from a sick mother, protecting her from guilt, protecting myself from the pain of admitting I could not save my own family." I took his hand, feeling how cold and fragile it was. In that touch, something inside me loosened. The anger, the confusion, the hurt, made way for a deep, compassionate sorrow. "You did what you thought was right with the tools you had then," I said, surprising myself with the conviction in my voice. And looking at the doctor I became, "Maybe you did not do everything wrong." Isadora joined us then, her hand covering ours. For the first time, the three of us were connected not by lies or secrets, but by the raw, painful truth of who we were, a broken family trying to find its way back to one another with the time left. In that moment, with the ocean's hush as witness and death hovering like an uninvited guest, I understood that healing does not come from forgiving past mistakes, but from understanding the pain that caused them. Sometimes the most important truth is not what happened, but what we choose to do with what remains. The next 3 days were a study in human contradiction. Antonio moved between crystal lucidity and medication-blurred confusion. In his clear hours, he seemed bent on cramming 26 years of silence into a handful of conversations. On the second morning, he asked to speak with me alone. Isadora stepped out, her eyes still carrying the ache of discovery, but lit with a spark that looked like hope. "Lucas," Antonio began, voice so faint I had to lean close. "There is something you must know. Something not even Isadora knows." My heart sped. Another secret? After everything, what more could there be? "When I took you to the orphanage," he went on, breath hitching between words, "I did not leave you there by chance. I made arrangements." "What kind of arrangements?" I asked, tight. "I paid for a family to adopt you," he whispered, eyes closing as if the memory stung. "The Mitchells. They were good people. He was a teacher, she was a nurse. I chose them myself." The words hit like a punch. My adoptive parents, Carmen and Robert Mitchell, had not found me by chance. Antonio had chosen them. The family I believed took me in randomly had been handpicked by the man who gave me away. "Why?" I asked, anger flaring back. "Why meddle so much only to abandon me?" "Because I was not abandoning you," he said, a tear tracing the map of his wrinkles. "I was protecting you, and making sure you had the life Isadora and I could not give then." He gathered himself. "I watched over you all these years. Your report cards, your milestones, medical school, the anonymous scholarship, me, the rotation at Massachusetts General Hospital. I pulled strings. Everything you achieved, you earned, but I made sure you had the doors to walk through." I stepped from the bed, feeling invaded. My life, my achievements, my independence, steered by a man in the shadows. "You did not let me have my own life," I said, voice shaking with anger. "You directed it like a film." "I let you have a safe life," he said, surprising strength in his tone. "While Isadora and we destroyed ourselves. She with guilt, I with remorse. We deserved our suffering. You deserved better." Isadora re-entered, face pale. "I heard," she said simply. "All of it." Antonio closed his eyes, braced for her fury. She did not scream or sob. Instead, she took his hand. "You were always a controller, Antonio," she said, strangely calm. "Not from malice, from fear. And this time you may have been right." She turned to me, eyes full of old sorrow. "Look at the man you became. Lucas. A compassionate doctor, a resilient survivor. Your life was hard, yes, but you became someone strong. Someone I would be proud to call my son." My anger thinned, replaced by a deeper confusion. Were they thanking me for abandoning me? "I do not understand," I admitted, sinking into the chair. "How can you see this as good?" "Because the alternative was worse. Isadora said, hand still in his. If you had stayed with us, with me ill, him overworking to compensate, you would have grown up in a toxic home. You might have become someone else, bitter, resentful, wounded. Antonio opened his eyes, pleading. I made an impossible choice. Lucas. Leave you with a sick mother who could harm you without meaning to, or ensure you had a chance with a stable family. I chose the better odds of you becoming who you are. I looked at my biological parents, two deeply flawed humans who, in their crooked ways, tried to love me as best they knew. One through control and distant care, the other through grief and guilt. Then came the final revelation. There is more. Antonio whispered, eyes falling shut again. In the safe, there is a will. I left everything to you. Lucas. The company, the properties, everything. Isadora knows and agrees. Isadora nodded, silent tears shining on Antonio's face. We do not deserve you. But maybe we can do one thing right at the end. I looked at the dying man, the mourning woman, and the life that might have been. For the first time, I saw neither monsters nor saviors. Only people, fragile, flawed, desperately human. And in that room, death thick in the air. I understood the greatest secret was not that they gave me up, but that they never stopped loving me, each in a complicated, imperfect way. Perhaps, in the end, that was what mattered. The night after Antonio's last revelations transformed me. While he slept under heavy medication, Isadora and I sat in the living room, the Pacific roaring its eternal songs as we, mere mortals, faced the weight of choices made more than a quarter century ago. He was always like this, Isadora said suddenly, breaking the heavy quiet. A controller. Not out of cruelty, out of fear. Fear of losing control, fear of chaos, fear of pain. I looked at her and saw not a successful woman in her 50s, but a 16-year-old girl who got pregnant by an older man and found herself crushed by responsibilities she was not ready for. How did you two meet? I asked, realizing I still did not know the shape of their past. A sad smile touched her lips. I was an intern at his medical practice. I was 15, from a dysfunctional family in East El-Bade, trying to outrun my fate. He was 39, a respected cardiologist, divorced, lonely. She paused, eyes far away. It was more complicated than it sounds. He saw me, truly saw me, when no one else did. And I saw in him the stability I never had. And when you got pregnant, it was a disaster, she said, voice tight with old emotion. My family threw me out. His colleagues despised him. We moved to Santa Monica, away from everyone. And then you were born. She looked at me, eyes pleading for understanding. I loved you instantly. Lucas. With a force that scared me. But the depression, it came like a thief in the night. It stole my joy, my energy, my ability to care for you. Antonio tried, hired nannies, brought me to therapists. Back then, no one really understood postpartum depression. I pictured it, a terrified teenager, a middle-aged man in over his head, a baby needing more than either could give. The day I tried to kill myself, she whispered, was the day Antonio decided. I had left you crying in the crib for hours because I could not get out of bed. He came home and found me on the bathroom floor with my wrists cut. He said something in him broke. My breath snagged. The image was vivid and unbearably human. "He did not take me to the hospital," she said, a tear dropping. "He called a colleague who came to the house, treated me in secret. That night, he took you away. Said he was taking you to his sister's for a few days so I could rest. But he never brought you back. And you never questioned?" I asked, my voice unsteady. "I questioned for months," she said, gaze distant. "But he showed me a false death certificate. Said you died of sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, while at his sister's. In my sick mind, it made sense. Of course you died. I was such a terrible mother, the universe had to take my child." Her pain was so palpable I could almost touch it. 26 years inside that lie. 26 years of self-hate and blame. "How did you survive that?" I asked, awed by her endurance. "I became successful," she said with a bitter laugh. "I built an empire from nothing, as if to prove to the universe I was not completely useless. Every deal, every award, was a middle finger to a God I believed had punished me." By morning, Antonio woke weaker still. His breathing was shallow, his eyes clouded. When he saw me, they brightened with a final gleam of recognition. "Lucas," he breathed, his hand reaching. "I am here." "Father," I said. The word came naturally, without force. A smile touched his pale mouth. "You called me father. You have always been my father," I answered, my own tears finally spilling. "Even when you were not there, you were. Watching, guarding, making sure I was safe." Isadora joined us, her hand covering ours. "We love you, Lucas," she said, her voice so pure it hurt. "We never stopped loving you. We just did not know how to do it right." Antonio closed his eyes, gathering strength for his last words. "In the safe, there are letters. One for each birthday I missed. I wrote them every year, on your day. I wanted you to know I never forgot you." The revelation stole my breath. 26 letters. 26 years of unspoken love, unconfessed regret, unshared pride. I read them. Isadora admitted softly. "This morning, while you slept. He loved you so much, Lucas." In a way I did not understand until now. I looked at the man in the bed, my father, and saw not a monster or a saint, but a deeply flawed human who, in the worst way possible, did what he believed was right for his son. "I forgive you, Father," I said, from the deepest part of me. "I forgive you for everything." His eyes opened, filled with a peace I had never seen. "And I forgive you, Isadora," he whispered, turning to her, "for not being the person you needed me to be." "And I forgive you," she answered, tears running, "for protecting me from the truth when I was not strong enough to bear it." In that quiet room, with death near enough to touch, I realized forgiveness is not forgetting the past or excusing the harm. It is accepting human limits, admitting we all do the best we can with the tools we have, and choosing love over resentment once we finally see the whole truth. When Antonio closed his eyes for the last time a few hours later, he did not leave as a man crushed by secrets. He left as a father who finally heard his son call him father, and who finally made peace with the woman he had loved all his life, even through the lies and the silence that had kept them apart. And I, the son who had felt incomplete my whole life, finally felt whole. Not because I found my origins, but because I understood that love, even when expressed imperfectly and painfully, is still love. Sometimes the strongest families are not the ones that never break, but the ones that find their way back after they do. The week after Antonio's death was a storm of contradictions I knew in theory as a physician, but felt for the first time as a son. Grief tangled with a strange sense of completion, sorrow with gratitude, loss with discovery. The funeral was quiet at the Westwood Cemetery Chapel, only a few close friends and colleagues. Isadora stood beside me through the service, her hand firm in mine, as if she feared I might vanish if she let go. I understood the fear. After 26 years apart, every shared moment felt too precious to waste. Only after everyone left, in the silent Malibu house, did Isadora take me to the safe. She entered the combination, my birth date, and the heavy door opened with a soft click. "He wanted you to see this alone," she said gently. "But I think we should see it together." Inside, beyond the stocks, deeds, and jewelry I expected, sat a simple wooden box, its corners worn. When I lifted the lid, I found not only the 26 letters Antonio mentioned, each dated on one of my lost birthdays, but something that stole my breath. A journal. Antonio's journal, beginning the day I was born and ending the week before he died. I did not know about this, Isadora whispered, hands shaking as she took the weathered book. We sat on the living room couch, the same ocean beyond the glass that had witnessed our hardest truths, and we began to read. Page after page, year after year, my life unfolded through the eyes of the man who loved me enough to let me go. March 15, 1998. Today my son was born. I named him Raphael, which means God has healed. Isadora is fragile, but beautiful. I have never loved anyone this much. June 20, 1998. Isadora's depression worsens every day. Today I came home and found Lucas crying alone in the crib. She was on the bathroom floor, unconscious. I do not know how much longer we can go on. September 3, 1998. I made the hardest decision of my life today. I will take Lucas to an orphanage. It is the only way to protect him. God forgive me. The entries went on, each more painful than the last. He described secret visits to the orphanage, how he watched me play from a distance. His joy when the Mitchells adopted me. They are good people. They will love him well. His pride when I entered medical school. My son will be a doctor, like his father. But the entry on the day Isadora and I met again at the hospital cut deepest. October 14, 2024. She found him. After all these years, fate brought them together. I should be afraid, but I feel only relief. At last, the truth will come. Perhaps I can die in peace, knowing the two I love most have finally found each other. Isadora cried quietly beside me. He always knew this would happen, she whispered. He believed the universe would bring us back together. When we opened the letters, each was a time capsule of love unspoken. At 5, he hoped I liked school. At 10, he was proud I had become an avid reader. At 18, when I started medical school, the paper was stained with what looked like tears. He loved you so much, Isadora said again, wonder in her voice. in a way I never fully understood. Then we found the last letter, not dated on a birthday, but addressed to Lucas and Isadora. My beloved, if you are reading this, it means I am gone and you two found each other. There are no words for the regret I carry for the years I stole from you. But I hope, as you read these pages, you understand that every choice I made, however wrong it may seem, was made out of love. Lucas, you became the man I always knew you would be, strong, compassionate, resilient. Isadora, you became the woman I always saw in you, successful, determined, extraordinary. The pendant Lucas has always worn, it was not just a symbol of our bond. It was a promise. The promise that one day we would find each other again. Now that you have, my only hope is that you build together the family the three of us never managed to be. I love you more than words can say. Take care of each other. Always yours, Antonio. We sat in silence for a long time after. Antonio's words lingering in the quiet. Then Isadora did something that changed everything. She went to her room and returned with a small jewelry box. Inside, along with the other half of the pendant, was something I never expected, a worn, yellowed hospital baby bracelet, my name still legible. Rafael Antonio Montgomery. I kept it all these years, she said, tears landing on the plastic. It was the only physical thing I had of you. Antonio said they took it off after you died. But I took it from the hospital trash and hid it. I held the bracelet, fingers trembling over the faded letters. Rafael Antonio Montgomery. My name. My true name. I want you to wear this, Isadora said, lifting the two pendants. Not as Rafael, the child we lost. As Lucas, the man you became. The man we both love. She joined the crescents, the two halves forming a full moon, and set the chain around my neck. This is our family, she said, her voice steady with new resolve. Not the family we should have been, but the family we are now. Imperfect, cracked, finally whole. In that moment, with the complete pendant resting against my chest and the hospital bracelet in my hand, I fully understood the question I had asked at the start of this extraordinary journey. How could a lie heal wounds deeper than the truth itself? Because sometimes truth needs time to ripen. Sometimes love needs space to grow. Sometimes the strongest families are not those that never break, but those that find the path back after losing their way. Antonio did not give us a lie, he gave us time. Time for Isadora to heal. Time for me to grow. Time for the love that bound us to find a way to reunite us when we were ready. Now, looking at Isadora, my mother, my ally, my friend, I knew the journey that began as a hunt for answers ended as a discovery of forgiveness. The truth I uncovered did not only change my story forever, it finally gave me the family I always dreamed of, not in the way I imagined, but in the way it always needed to be. Because in the end, the greatest secret was not that they gave me up, but that they never stopped loving me. Love, even when carried by well-intentioned lies and painful secrets, still finds a way to prevail. And that truth, painful, beautiful, redemptive, was the only real cure for all the wounds we carried.